In today's prophecy update briefing, I just wanted to focus on one aspect. I'm not going to go into the overview, and because right now we'll probably be talking about going through Revelation bit by bit through the tribulation period. But I kind of wanted to, as just things were just coming to a head, just to shed briefly on this and what's happening with this coronavirus. And I want to approach it from a statistics perspective, just using the statistic from the World Health Organization, the CDC, the government health department, and just lay out facts, what's going on. And of course, things can get out of control or things can get in control. So there's a very fluidity to this thing. And again, I'm not a doctor, I'm not an expert, but I did some homework and did some research on some of this stuff and what's going on. So I just want to share some of that information. And again, I want to play it safe with everyone at the same time. When you look at some of the statistics, it kind of brings you to a different conclusion of what's actually happening, but at the same time, we got to play it safe. Okay? It started off earlier this week. As an airplane junkie, there's a guy that sometimes I watch on YouTube, and he does investigation reports. And he was talking through some airline industry information. And then he was talking about this particular virus that was going on, and he shared an interesting website that kind of put things into perspective. And it was actually from the Johns Hopkins University, and they have this live shot that's going on globally of all the cases, those who've recovered from it, those who are dying, etc. And it goes, country by country, state by state, etc. So I thought that was interesting, and the name of the site is called the Global Cases of Center System Science and Engineering at Johns Hopkins, which is a leading university with all kinds of interesting things there. But as you look at the statistics, and I'm going to share some of these things, this is from this morning. So far, when I brought this up, it was about 153,524 totally confirmed cases. Okay. Now, again, how many people are living in the world? 7.5 billion people, and 153,000 people have confirmed cases, okay, globally. And about half of that, about 72,000, have recovered from this particular virus. And sadly, about 5,789 deaths have happened, and most of them were elderly people who already had sicknesses from what the statistics tells us. Now here in Australia, again, a population of 24.5 million people, right? There's 250 cases that have happened. Of those cases, 23 have recovered, and there's 3 deaths here in Australia. Here in Victoria, a population of 6.5 million, there are 49 cases, 8 have recovered, and 0 deaths so far here in Victoria. So looking at this, I'm trying to process this. I'm trying to come to grips with this. Why is there a panic? Just looking at statistics, numbers, population, yes, I get the quickness of how things can spread, and the mortality rate, is pretty high, those who get this, especially in elderly, and so the importance of confinement, I get it, okay? But I'm just trying to fathom and try to come to grips just looking at statistics, looking at the numbers from that's come in through the different organizations. As of last week, the March 3rd, this came out of the WHO, the World Health Organization, there was a mortality rate of 3.4% with this virus. And again, it's really hard to estimate the case fatality rate at the present time. So again, these are just statistics, it's fluid, things will change. But it does seem, just from a statistics point of view, the media is doing a great job in scaring people, and people are listening to it, and you see panic going on globally. And as we're already seeing, people hoarding toilet paper and pastas and all these other things. But unfortunately, this fear has driven people crazy. The media hype, and it doesn't support the facts and the science behind what's actually happening. So, again, the fear that's going on here, it feels like that there's this new, it's like the Armageddon starting. The apocalypse is happening with this new virus that's going on. And, so we have to be careful. There's cautiousness and wisdom on the other side, again, and not, being foolish about it. So we need to be wise about everything that's going on. From the World Health Organization, their own website says the coronavirus is a large family of viruses causing illnesses ranging from common colds to more severe diseases, such as the Middle East Respiratory Syndrome, MERS, and the Severe Acute Respiratory System, SARS, as we know it happened a couple years ago. And so this new one, the novel coronavirus, is a new strain that has not been previously identified in humans. And so, in other words, this is another common strand, a common cold caused by a coronavirus. There's 7 coronaviruses. 4 of them are very common, which we always get with the common cold. Okay, and then there's 3 other ones, one of them that we're dealing with right now, but then SARS and MERS is another one that was kind of unique. And these are some of the things that go on. The human coronavirus was named for this crown-like spike on their surfaces that was originally identified in the mid-1960s. Okay, this is where this is going back to, where they're kind of identifying the sicknesses and the flus that have gone on. And this is coming from the CDC. There are 7 coronaviruses that can affect people. The common one, and again, just to lay them out there, and again, you can go onto their website and grab the same information. 229E, the NL63, and then you have the OC43, which is the beta coronavirus, and the HKU1. So these are very common. This is what's happening on a regular basis, seasonal flu basis. And then the other coronaviruses, as we mentioned, the MERS, the Middle East, and also the SARS, and then the one that's going on right now, the COVID-19. According to the CDC, people around the world commonly get infected with those first 4 viruses. Okay, that's where all the common colds are coming from those coronaviruses. We're just hearing this name coronavirus, but it's been going on. Sometimes coronavirus can infect animals and change and make people sick and become new human coronaviruses. And again, the recent one is we're seeing those that have crippled the world, the MERS, the SARS, and this one that's happening right now. So the WHO further observes the human coronaviruses are common throughout the world. The most recent coronavirus, the CVD-19, was first identified in Wuhan, China, and is associated with a mild severe respiratory illness with fever and coughing. So it's very similar, as they're labeling it, to the common flu, which causes the vast deaths every year by nation, even more than the CV-19 itself is capable of causing at this point. Now, it can spread even more, but the flu is worse off than this particular virus that's going on, according to statistics, okay? So, just in the U.S. alone, because a lot of this is where this information is coming from, there's been 51 deaths so far from this particular virus in the last 3 months, okay? Most of them occurred in a senior center in Washington State, while the common flu already claimed 17,000 lives in the country since the flu season began in October. As the CDC also noted, to begin contributing to the hysteria of the influenza as a result of between 9 million to 45 million illnesses, between 140,000 to 810,000 hospitalization, and between 12,000 to 61,000 deaths annually since 2010. And in 2019-2020, the flu season, the CDC has already predicted 34 to 49 million flu diseases or illnesses in the U.S. alone, 16 to 23 of those medical visits, and 350 to 620 flu hospitalizations, and 20,000 to 52,000 deaths in the United States alone. So the U.S. every year, they have between 60 to 80,000 deaths just by the flu. So the number, is staggering when you look at just the flu virus and how quickly that's gone around. But just this particular virus going on, it's causing the world to stop at its knees, to stop sporting events, to stop tournaments, conferences, and many other things. But it doesn't do it for the flu. And yet the flu has caused more deaths than any other thing that we can see, from any other illnesses or heart attacks or things like that. So the flu has caused more issues, just on statistics. The mortality rate from this thing is pretty high. I get that, okay? But just looking at statistics right now. So the CDC reported in 2018, 2010, the flu season, 900,000 people were hospitalized, more than 80,000 people died from them. That's just the U.S. alone. So the mortality rate is just shy of 9%, and critical cases of the flu requiring hospitalization, and the vast majority of those deaths were amongst the elderly. Now, as some of you know, my side job, I pick up bodies, and most of them, 90% are all elderly. We've had to pick up quite a few the other night that were from influenza. So we're being extra cautious when we're, putting the body in. The swine flu pandemic that happened in 2009, 2010, caused by the N1 flu virus that infected nearly 61 million in the U.S., caused 12,000 plus deaths and up to 575,000 deaths worldwide. And so, again, the CDC is also talking about this, and this came out of the British Journal, that talks about the worldwide seasonal flu kills between 291,000 to 646,000 people each year. So this virus that's going on is going to be a bit of a drop in that bucket as well. So this is just looking at numbers. Nothing for us to panic about. But this is the fear. We got to be cautious. We got to be careful. Do all the practical things. And so we got to do the sensible thing here. Play it safe. But there's no need to panic and live in fear, as many have been. So the bottom line is, like I just said, play it safe. If you're sick, stay home. Self-quarantine. Makes sense. But if all these things are being shut down, then why are people still going to the shops, going to the movies, going to the supermarkets, whatever? If it's such a grave thing right now where you have to close down all these other events, and there's more people that will be at the shops or going out to eat or all these other places, but yet anything over 500 you can't meet and congregate. But yet you're going to get it more. You're going to be running by more people in the shops and going out and about. So where we draw the line with all this as well. And again, just being cautious. They tell us these things. Keep up the good hygiene. Wash your hands like a good surgeon would, right? That's where most of our germs are coming from. Keep your immune system high. Have the vitamins. Get some exercise. These are all just practical advices that the doctor will tell you to do to keep you from getting sick. We can get sick no matter where we're at, whether it's here or we're in the shops or, so we don't need to live in fear, but practice good hygiene as well. And again, I'm just trying to process this. I'm not trying to come to any conclusion here. I want to play it safe, but at the same time, I don't want to panic. I want to do what's right for us as a congregation as well. But I will play it safe. It's better safe than sorry, as they say. And so my message is for us as believers not to live in fear or to panic about everything. We can still go about our daily lives, just be more cautious. But most importantly, we need to trust the Lord. Okay? Our faith and our trust is in Him. Keep our eyes fixed upon Him as the author and finisher of our faith. What's the worst thing that can happen to us? We get sick and we die, and we're going in glory, right? That's where our hope is at as a believer. Yes, it's sad for everyone here, but at the same time, we're in glory. We're all passing through, okay? So I just want to share that, and again, just be careful, be cautious, But this is just the numbers that I'm looking at from the World Health Organization, the CDC, the government health department here. Here's the information that's going. But again, if you look at those numbers, there's no need for us to panic and live in fear and put our lives on hold. But again, be careful. That's all I'm saying. And that's it for today's update.